My name is Ashley Horvath, or Pistol Mercy, depending on where you see me. I'm from Virginia. I've lived in Orlando, Florida for most of my life. I traveled a little bit. I went to Portland for a little bit, and then I moved back to Orlando last year.
How did you get into the burlesque?
I actually got into burlesque from coming out to Southern Nights. At the time it was Revolution on lesbian nights, and I saw Ivy Lesvixen.
I have noticed that your style of makeup is very different from other burlesque performers, and I think it's wonderful. I think it's absolutely amazing some of the things that you can do with your palette. Now, do you consider that drag makeup, or is it kind of your own spin on the mix of burlesque and drag and mesh them together?
I've always over accentuated everything. Always, ever since I could do makeup. I really try to tone it down for my burlesque gigs too. And I always look at pictures of me next to the other girls and I'm like, I look crazy. I look insane right now. My brows are on my forehead and these girls have chapstick and mascara on. I'm like, this is awful. But I don't know how to paint any other way, really. It's always been really heavily drag inspired, my looks and my style.
How does it make you feel to be painted like that?
It makes me feel like Pistol. When I put everything on, I do not feel like I'm ready for show until I have my lashes, my lips, my wig on. Everything has to be there, and then I go, oh, there she is. Now we can go. But I always feel like I'm not ready until I'm completely done up.
How do you differentiate between Ashley and Pistol as two separate entities?
Ashley's boring. To be honest. Pistol's not funny either, but Ashley's really not funny. I feel like Pistol has a better sense of humor.
Do you feel more confident as Pistol?
I do. Ashley's not gonna flash people, but Pistol takes her clothes off all the time. And I just feel like when you completely separate the characters, because Pistol is a more exaggerated version of me, I think of myself, even though this is not the case at all, I think of myself as this sexy housewife that is also very Lucille Ball, keeps burning herself on the oven, but oh, watch me put this burn lotion on, I'm super sexy. That's my version of sex appeal. And I think of myself as that because I think I have a lot of self-confidence, but I also think I know I'm the biggest klutz in the world. I'm always dropping things. I am the least coordinated person in the world. I can't believe I wear 6-inch heels all the time and don't break my ankle.
Not to mention the fact there's always costume pieces flying and scattered across the stage.
I'm so surprised and so coordinated with taking my clothes off, which is why I like Pistol so much. I feel like she's still that's goofball, klutz, but look how she can still be coordinated with taking this off. But then
pull it off gracefully.
But pull it off gracefully and make it look sexy at the same time.
How do you feel when you're in front of the audience? Because I've seen a lot of performances where you're a packed house. There's a lot of people out there. How does that make you feel, and how do you handle
it? The most people I've ever performed in front of, as Pistol, was probably grand finale night when I won Tuesdays. It was absurd. My best friends were in the very back of the club, screaming. I could hear them from the front still. The entire place was packed. There had to be 1,000 people there, crammed into that small room for 1,000 people. And it was absurd. The noise was ridiculous. It really amplifies you, to be honest. if they're into it, you get more into it. But I was just telling someone recently, that's why I do funny numbers a lot, or I try to at least have some humor in my numbers, is because that's how I can audibly hear that they're into it. I could have a packed house, but if they're just watching me very politely, and I love that, like, that's so sweet. But I'm like, hoot for me a little bit, just a little, make some noise or laugh or something, so I know that I'm doing okay. Because it's always so funny to me when it's just like a packed house of all people watching very politely, like they're at a ballet. And then you get done, you take all your clothes off, and then they lose it, and then they throw their dollar bills up in the air, and you're like, oh, you liked it. Okay, good. I'm glad you liked it, because I didn't think you did. I love packed crowds if they're noisy. I love noise.
Do you have a favorite performance to date?
Oof. I have two. They're my biggest shows, in my opinion. Like, conceptually, my favorite was when I did my teeth number, where I had a tooth vagina prosthetic that my drag sister at the time, made for me. She's incredible. She does prosthetics all the time. And she made me this beautiful vagina with, like, teeth sticking out of it. It was terrifying, and I loved it. It was for an 80s night, so I had all of the tacky 80s songs. It was great. But, like, performance-wise was my grand finale night, to be honest, just because at the very end, when I shot Sorsha with the gun and killed her, the noise that everyone made, I was like, oh my god, I might have a chance. That was cool. That was cool. I rewound that part on the video like 80 times after she posted it that night, and just like relived the last like 5 seconds of like that part, because the crowd was insane.